When did this house get built? How long did you live here for?
Well, it was built, we started in, I think, 1990 in contract with having the house built. It was kind of a package deal, property and house, and with a local real estate. And it got built over a number of months. And we didn't move into it immediately because our daughter was finishing high school, so we stayed. And then we came after her graduation, and then she was accepted already into Cal Poly. And so she lived on campus and off of campus. And then Paul was accepted also into Cal Poly. And then we lived here, and Ruben and I at some point had separated, and I went to live into the 1905 rental house. That was a rental house, and I went there to live.
The East Branch Street?
Yes, it's a 1905 home.
And you know, what, if you remember that day, what was that like, May 25th, 1996? Did you guys get a phone call? How did you guys hear about all of this?
Oh, it was days after. I had no idea anything going on. Days, maybe a couple of weeks. I don't know. I'm really unsure about that. We didn't know till after that, you know, the whole event of a disappearance of a young woman, had happened until, I don't know, maybe, you know, the campus police got involved, and originally, I guess they thought she was camping or whatever, I don't know. It was a lot of mixed, so we didn't really have any focus on it immediate. It came later.
At what point was that focus on you and your family and Paul?
Oh dear. It was a little while. It was a little while. We were, I don't know, a few weeks, a month. I don't know. I don't really have a good handle on it.
And for the last 25 years, Paul has been, you know, a person of interest in this case, named a suspect, you know, recently or before that. What has that been like for you guys as a family to be under a magnifying glass?
It's a good way of putting a magnifying glass, and with a lot of people out there watching, and of course, sentiment is, of course, our sentiment too. You know, everybody wants a resolution. So they just want to focus where they want to focus on. And there's been a lot of media, and now there's Facebook and whatever else you got out there. I don't know. I'm not really too savvy.
But pertaining to you, how do you feel with all of this, or how have you
Well,
felt?
we have been harassed. We've had a restraining order. We've had Mr. and Mrs. Smart's henchmen put in jail for harassing us, stalking us. And when I say us, I mean Ruben and I mean Mike, my daughter, her husband, my son. We were all on the restraining order, protected. He violated the restraining order. He went to jail. And like I said, he was their henchman.
And you're talking about who?
Dennis Mahan. And everything's on file, and there's a bench warrant out for his arrest. And so I don't believe he will come back to California.
Kind of fast forwarding to this past February, there were search warrants at your home on East Branch Street right here, Paul's home in San Pedro, and Irma Linda's house in Washington State. Can you tell me what they took from your guys' homes?
Basically electronics, cell phones, computers. That was pretty much it. They went through the house, at least in my observation, they went through the house, they photographed anything they wanted, got into my file cabinets, got into attorney-client privilege items, you know, that I have with my attorneys, got into everything, every box, every file cabinet. They just had a field day.
What about today and yesterday's search? Are you guys surprised? How are you feeling about that?
No, I kind of thought they were going to come for the Volkswagen, because when they came last year at my house, Commander Scott, who was the officer that came, had some pictures on his phone that were sent over to him from this garage. He had a couple of questions, and yeah, the Volkswagen was on there. So it didn't surprise me that they came and took it. They supposedly have 2 other trucks. If they have what used to be our family's truck, the Ranger was a trade-in, and so it is not technically ours. The Nissan pickup was a stolen vehicle, which was our family vehicle. We gave it to Paul at some point, changed ownership. It was stolen from him, and therefore it is his vehicle. He was never paid off from an insurance company, and if they have that vehicle, it is technically his vehicle. They have a stolen vehicle.
Do you know if they took anything from this property? Why would they be searching these specific locations?
I don't know if it came out of the podcast or chit chat, or I have no idea. It's ridiculous. It's unfathomable. Why? How? I mean, you see, there are no fences here. No fences. And they're looking for remains of somebody. There's never been a fence up on this lot. We just have the little rail fence. It makes no sense. It's a lot of harassment over the years. I don't necessarily think they're doing their jobs, but I guess they are. I don't know how to put it.
I mean, do you think that the investigation over the last nearly 25 years has been fair?
No. Oh, no. There's a lot of things I could say, but I won't get into, because I'm sure I don't know if we'll wind up in a court of law. It's okay with me, you know, because I would like to see the family have their answers. If it was my daughter, I'd want the answers. But they don't seem to get it. They keep trying to find the answers with us, and they keep failing because the answers aren't here. It's very simple. It's simple for me to say, because I know the answer's not here with me, not here with him, not here with anybody. It's not here. It's just, I don't get it.
In other words, are you saying that you are innocent, Ruben is innocent?
We have no responsibility in her disappearance or what happened to that young woman. No. And I've said it in a court of law.
What do you think about the podcast?
I could shoot a lot of holes into a lot of his lies. He had depositions in his possession, and he's picked and choose what he wanted to use. He said, I returned mail to the Smarts, and the Smarts know damn well I still have it. We were in mediation. They know it was in front of their face. So, you know, it's just more ingredients. It's a crime podcast. I guess they're a flare right now. So he's added more and more. Make it juicy, make people want to listen to it. Let's throw in a few things.
Has he attempted to contact you guys to get your story?
Never once. Never been to my house, never contacted me, never. Never made any attempt in any way, even through someone else. Even he's never called my attorney.
Why do you think people believe it was your family and Paul that were responsible for the disappearance of Kristen Smart?
They look at it as, I guess, you know, there was a number of people that left the party and they just focused into a few people that they could figure out that were maybe on her route. I don't know. I mean, my understanding, there was more than 60 people there, a lot of fraternity people. So I don't know. He's been the scapegoat.
I know you said earlier that you were thinking about taking legal action, possibly against the sheriff's office or the Smart family. Further, do you still? Are you?
I have a civil suit against Mr. and Mrs. Smart for their involvement with their henchmen. That's on record. You can go look it up in the courthouse. Whether or not anything else is going to happen down the road, I don't really have an answer, but I haven't, you know what, none of it's going to make up 25 years. None of it's going to, no amount of money in this world, no litigation, no, is going to give back us 25 years of our lives, of the changes they made for us. If they believed that our son had some responsibility, they didn't have to gang up on us. Mrs. Smart controls that Facebook. It is her Facebook. And she controls it when she wants to with that Sandy woman. They've allowed these people to honk, to disturb the neighbors, to disturb us, to disrupt people's lives that don't have anything to do with this. And they don't care. They've made threats. There's plenty. I have it. They have it documented. They know. And they know, and they don't pull the plug. And they get, you know, I don't know if I was in their situation where I would have taken this. I don't, but to basically say, first of all, this woman didn't disappear in Arroyo Grande. She disappeared in San Luis Obispo. But yet they've made this community here, because we live here, responsible. So they have to put up with some of the inconveniences of all the people that came up here yesterday and today, honking their horn, taking pictures. They've disturbed everybody that's lived here, made them uncomfortable in their surroundings, made them maybe not feel safe, because every once in a while you get somebody that's a little off and you don't know what they're going to do. And they've exposed the people there, over here, down here. And some of these people have lived here around us for 30 years. And some of the people down on Branch Street have lived around me for all those years. These people have taken it to such extremes. When I was working in a school with the at-risk program, with children that have multiple sad things going on, homelessness, drugs, alcohol, no real families. And that dentist trying to break into the school doors. And Mr. and Mrs. Smart are educators. And they watched and they heard, and they didn't stop him. And he worked for them. And they had these children, junior high and high school kids that I worked with, who had the unstableness in their lives. And then he brought in more.
I mean, what do you have to say? What do you want to say to viewers, to the Smart family, to the sheriff's office, to the whole world, really, who's been following this case?
You know, you can follow, and your heart can go out to people that are in sadness, but you can't go out there and just terrorize people, harass people, stalk people. These people up here today, they're if they come back 3 times, they're stalkers, you know. And to do stuff like this, it just doesn't sit well. And I know they're hurting. I know they are, and they don't have any answers. And but I can't solve it for them. I can't give them the answers that they want. I don't have them. And yet they just time and time again, they just come after you, and they do it. They go after my children. They go after Paul. They go after my daughter. They go after her husband. What are they going to do? Go after my grandchildren next? They're little people. I mean, you know, my daughter moved to Europe because she couldn't take it anymore. She couldn't. She was a new wife, and she had to leave her country. And they still followed her, and they still talked about her, and they still knew where she was. What? It's outrageous. It's just outrageous.
Well, I appreciate, you know, you sharing your side of the story and making your voice heard. And I know it's getting cold and you have dinner. I don't know if there was any questions. There's a lot to dive into, but I really appreciate you taking the time if there's nothing else.
I mean, I really hope Mr. and Mrs. Smart get their answers. But, you know, I mean, to not know is probably devastating. And they really would never talk with us. And the sheriffs don't talk to us either. Because if they sit down with us, they have to sit down with an attorney, and they won't do it. They won't talk to any of us, ever, all these years. No, we went to the grand jury, you know.
I mean, what would you tell the sheriff's office?
Well, they have to ask the questions, and then we'll see where we go, you know.
Makes sense. Well, thank you.
Definitely, Susan, talking all these years, does it feel good to, I mean, because you don't really talk that much about this case.
It's the first interview I've ever done in my life.
This will help, and
I don't know. They've had a lot of opportunities in different ways. I let them dig up my yard in 2007. They could have had a field day there. They brought in the GPR, and they did this and did that, found a couple of anomalies, a rock and a piece of metal fitting. They could have my yard is teensy over there. They could have taken out the whole yard, but their insurance wouldn't pay for it. Oh, but I've been accused of not letting them dig up the whole yard. Oh no, they wouldn't pay for it because there was no anomalies. And so, but yeah, just pinning it on her. She'll only let you do so much. That wasn't accurate either.
I mean, what led you to talking with us today and letting me into the backyard?
I know I'm mad because they took the Volkswagen. That's my little restoration project. You know, people restore old cars all the time. I'm a real I love cars. I love old things, you know. It's like, no, I wanted to do a restoration on that car. They didn't need to take it. They wanted to take it. Now they're going to take, oh yeah, the warrant says they can take it apart. So God knows what it'll look like, you know. But it's, I don't know, it's private. They're coming and they're taking your stuff. They're taking your stuff at will for any reason. You know, having a search warrant done, and you think we'd be used to it, is violating. It's like, oh, you know, they're in your house. They're in your drawers. They're in, you know, they're scattering stuff. You know, whatever, you know.
I mean, did you just feel, you know, after 25 years, you just needed to speak out, to share your story, to set the record straight?
Well, this is far from setting the record straight. You know, and someday, I don't know where this is going to go, you know. I don't know. I don't know if we're going to wind up in a court of law. I don't like this case being tried by the media. This is not where the case should be, in the media. Public opinion, deciding, oh, these people are guilty. You know, the whole world has got billions of people. They have 30 some odd on their, 30 some odd thousand, I think, on their Facebook. It's just a trickle. They're not all from around here. You know, I'm kind of a strong-willed person. I was raised in the city and grew up in, you know, not hard times, you know. It was, lived in a poor neighborhood and stuff, and, you know, you just learn you're a fighter. Either you're a fighter or you're not a fighter. And I imagine Denise Smart's a fighter, you know. But she's had a lot of help, you know, and, you know, God, I hope she gets, I mean, but I don't know. Maybe there's, you know, it's sad. There's so many people missing in this world. You know, you'd hate to think that maybe she's not going to get an answer, but maybe she won't. Maybe she's just going to have to wait. Because someday we'll all be gone and we'll be up there with God and she'll get to see her daughter. I believe that. I believe in the ever after. It's a long time to wait. But
absolutely. Well, thank you, Susan. I really do appreciate your candidness.
Susan, I mean no disrespect by this, but as a parent myself, have you ever asked Paul or talked to Paul and asked him if he knows anything?
The conversations that have taken place with him are something that will sit quiet until, unfortunately, we'll see where this is all going to lead. I think it should have been over with. So all those aspects are not up for discussion. I don't have any reason to believe that anybody in our family has any answers to where she is or what happened to her in the final.
What has that question been like to Paul? How have you had to ask him, or is it something? You
And that's something, no, we're not going to discuss.
You said you didn't. It shouldn't be tried by the media. So I just want to. That's a lot of people would want to ask that question.
You know what? I answered that one time in a court of law. So if you do your homework, it's there. But other than that, it's not. That whole aspect is not up for discussion. We may, unfortunately, find ourselves, you know, having to re-defend in a court of law. As far as I was concerned, this should have been over a long time ago. It should have never, we shouldn't be here. This shouldn't be happening over and over again. And it does. And you can't change. You have to have faith what you can't change. You know, everybody on earth has a cross to bear. I guess this is ours.
Why wouldn't you just from the get-go with you and your family kind of just flat out just say it wasn't us, we're innocent? I mean,
we did many
did.
times, many times.
And it just wasn't reciprocated in terms of outreach and how it was.
I don't have all the answers for that. You might ask Detective Cole, you might ask Parkinson. I had Hedges sitting in my living room on my request. So I've had the sheriff there. Sheriff Parkinson has never called me. Never said, can we have a conversation? Of course he'd be having one with my attorney and myself. No, there's no reach out from them. No, Hedges did though.
Mm-hmm. I know there's a lot to get into. Do you have any other
There's
questions?
25 years.
I know.
There is. Yeah.
Was there anything else
No.
you wanted to talk to us about in terms of what it was like for Paul watching this house get searched? Or his houses in the past?
You know, this isn't like crazy upsetting. This is just another day, something else they're going to do, and I don't know.
How do you prove that Paul's innocent?
It'll be up to his attorney if we go that far, won't it? God knows he is. That's all that matters. That's all that matters.
Thank you, Susan. Was there anything else?
No.
Thank you. Really appreciate it, and I appreciate your courage for talking with us after all this time.
Yeah, it is a lot of courage.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And like I said, I'll give you my card if you don't mind sending over the search warrant.
No, you can have it. No
And
problem.
anything else that you would
I'll,
like to
I'll
send.
give you those depositions,
Absolutely.
and you can
Sure.
pull Mr. Lambert apart a little bit.
I got my
I
work cut
don't
out
mind.
for me,
I don't mind that at all.
You've racked your brain. There's nothing you could say that would make all this go away.
Oh God, to go back and make it all gone.
Yeah.
For all of us.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just for us. It's for the other family as well. It's for people, you know. It's for, you know, her sister, her brother. You know, my family, his mother is gone. They used to go and harass her at 80 some years old. To make it all gone, to be able to come up with a resolution, come up with the answer, to make it never have happened. But we have to realize that, you know, you can't. You know, it's here. It's happened. She's missing. I know she was declared dead, but she's a missing person that never got back. It's sad, terribly sad. But none of us can change what has happened after the events that have taken place in 25 years. We can't do it. I don't know.
Anything you would do differently?
There was no, my hands were tied.
What do you mean by that?
I didn't have any control over what, we haven't done anything. I don't have control what other people do. I don't have control what law enforcement does. I don't have control with people that harass and stalk and do things to us and negative things, and Facebook, like to do away with Facebook. I don't have any control over that. I don't have any control what other people do. None, zero. I've lived my life and that's it, you know. You just go on day to day, and you can't I can't let it bother me to the point that I can't exist.
Well, I know that you said that you were writing a book. Can you tell me what you're writing about?
I'm working on it. I'm putting it all together.
Is it just about being the subject of this investigation?
Oh no, there's a lot of things. A lot of things that life teaches. But yeah, I will. I will put it together. And I'm just not really sure, like, of all the aspects. I don't know. There's no finale, you know. I'd like to say tomorrow this would be over, and there would be an answer, and then you would talk about how 25 years went, and then it was gone, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I don't know where it's, but yeah, I am. I will write the book.
Well, please let me know.